The blade on this thing is just absolutely stunning. The grind work on this compound grind with the sharpening, the way it just kind of like glistens with the different planes in the light, it's just absolutely beautiful. What's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I am Brian and I'm here today with a knife that I am very excited to open. It is the last one in my queue of knives, kind of at the moment, to unbox. I just recently opened up the Demko Shark Attack, which is a fantastic blade, and the Demko 8022, which is, in my opinion, one of the best everyday carry knives available. But in this one here, I have the most expensive non-custom knife that I've ever purchased. It is the most exciting one I think I have ever bought, and I really can't wait to get into it. So a couple weeks ago, I bought my first Striders. This is one of them. It is a SMF with a DGG double gunner grip in a MagnaCut steel, and I absolutely love this knife, but I would have preferred titanium handles. So we have that and more in this one here. Let's get this open. It is a Strider DGG XL, and the XL is obviously extra large, and I honestly do not know what to expect in that respect. So really excited to see just how large extra large is. This came in at a price point of $1,575, so not for the faint of heart. I cannot wait. I cannot wait to see what is in here. Let's get into it. All right, so I want to apologize for the focus issues in the 8022 video. We'll see if I can do this one a little bit better, but no promises. Let's get all of this packing foam out and get at the actual knife, which definitely feels like a chunky beast of a thing. And my goodness, it absolutely is. It barely fits in the baggie. The baggie doesn't even seal. All right. If you saw my other Strider video, you know that I absolutely love kind of the personal touch of the design elements and the decisions that get made. But this right here, I would say, is a very classic example of what Strider has to offer. We've got titanium on both the show side and the lock side scales. We've got a really oversized knife here that looks just like other Striders. If I pull up the SMF as an example, I mean, you know, without something to compare it to directly in hand, you would think it's just another Strider, but it very clearly is supersize. So definitely a very cool thing to see. Let's check out the blade. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Wow. Have a look at that. That blade is something to behold. It is a compound grind. They offered this particular drop in a spear point and a compound. The spear point grind had kind of two grinds that met at the tip, whereas this compound grind, you can see, kind of has three, 1, 2, 3. It is a hand ground blade, so even though it's not considered a custom, it is hand ground, and in many respects, you know, this is not a typical, what I'd call, production Strider knife. It's kind of all in the verbiage of the brand, I guess you could say. You know, this to me definitely feels like it leans more towards the custom market than it does a production run. But there are some Striders that are hand ground even in kind of the production SNG lineup, like the Tanto that I reviewed a couple of weeks ago. So this is just madly, madly impressive. It is a huge knife. Let's have a look. Let's see, how large is this thing? We're over 9 3/4 inch long with the blade open. The blade itself looks to be about 5 inches long with a cutting edge of maybe 3 1/4. And it is just an absolute work of art. Let's see, how heavy is this thing? Let's try disengaging the lock. I'm curious if there's any semblance of lock stick on something like this. The detent is actually very significant. It takes more force than usual to get it over the detent as well. Kind of falls into place with a nice little clunk. And then decent amount of force to disengage the detent. Very, very premium feeling knife. Let's check out the weight. 8.2 ounces. So that is, I believe, the exact same weight as a full-size AD20. I just did this yesterday. Let's have a look. 8.3 ounces for the Demco AD20 today. It was 8.2 yesterday. I'm gonna call them roughly the same, but look at the size difference between these two. And can I deploy this in a fun fashion? I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to practice that. It did deploy, it didn't give me a satisfying clunk. This thing is so ridiculous though. It just looks absolutely incredible. It feels great in the hand. I'm so impressed with this, but have a look at this. Side by side, I mean, weighs the same, but it's a completely different level in terms of the footprint and the impression that it gives you. Just a stunning work of art. I mean, really. I don't view this as a knife that, you know, I plan to carry around anywhere legitimately for any good reason. It's just absolutely beautiful. I bought it because it was beautiful, and I don't feel bad about that at all. Let's have a look at the AD22 as well. And when I say the AD22 is an excellent size for EDC, you know, if you think that this is an excellent size for EDC, then you have to be able to see how this is just extreme overkill for EDC. So again, beautiful knife, absolutely stunning knife, but I've got no plans to carry this with me on a daily basis. All right, and then just for the sake of being comprehensive, size comparison between a XL and a SMF. When they're closed, it is a S35VN steel. The one thing about Strider is they tend to use steels, I would say, kind of indiscriminately, where the industry might chase kind of like the latest and greatest steel. As an example, I would say most Demcos these days, at least in their folding lineup, use MagnaCut. I personally would have preferred MagnaCut for this blade, but my understanding is Strider has a hardening process that is second to none. And again, you can kind of see here, for my purposes, you know, this is just an incredible knife. is the S35VN going to make a difference versus MagnaCut for me if I'm just admiring this work of art? I mean, absolutely not. I do know that Strider wants their knives to be used as tools. I am certain that this would make a fantastic tool if you were inclined to use it as such. I do believe he has made a run of MagnaCut versions of this particular XL model, but the reality is these are incredibly, incredibly hard to come by. The last release of this particular knife, I think, was in December. I just started buying Striders a couple of weeks ago, and I think I caught this on the second or third week drop of kind of watching. So I got very lucky that he released this when he did. And I bought it, you know, as fast as I could, and as soon as I bought it, I went back to the page for it and it was already sold out. So I honestly feel a little bit lucky that I was able to actually snag this drop as well. And in hand, it absolutely does not disappoint whatsoever. So just to go over kind of some final details about this versus perhaps the SMF, which is the next in line size-wise, you can see here that for the titanium scales, there is no backspacer. It's on kind of standoffs. So, you know, with the G10 here, it's covered with the titanium scales on both sides. It is open. This knife does use the performance hardware that doesn't require the custom tool to be able to kind of adjust the pivot. I do believe it has titanium hardware throughout, and it is just an absolutely stunning, stunning knife. It feels great in hand. The double gunner grip, just absolutely solid. The jimping on the top. I mean, this knife just ergonomically, in addition to being a work of art, ergonomically, it is absolutely fantastic to hold. So, can't say enough about how impressed I am with this knife, how satisfied I am with this purchase, even though it comes in at a, I would say, extreme price point for sure. Let me just try one more time. I'll figure it out, I'll get there. It's definitely a beast of a blade, it's definitely a beast of a knife. Well done, Strider. Amazing, amazing, amazing knife. Amazing blade, amazing grip, amazing work of art. The blade on this thing is just absolutely stunning. The grind work on this compound grind with the sharpening, the way it just kind of like glistens with the different planes in the light, it's just absolutely beautiful. Really, really beautiful, really, really well executed. Curious about the centering. People always bring up centering on Striders. Let's have a look here and see. I think centering on that looks really spot on. So, you know, I wouldn't be surprised. It would make sense, right, that on kind of the more expensive offerings, he puts a little bit more attention to detail into things like the centering. But I've got no criticisms of this. This is just absolutely epic. There we go. That was nice. That was nice. This is definitely a long-term keeper, a kind of anchor of the collection, so to speak. And that's all I've got for this one. So let me know what you think of this knife in the comments. I would love to hear from you. I appreciate you, and I will see you at the next one soon.